This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
What's up, everybody?
I feel like you have been saying that less and less, so I'm glad you're bringing it back.
Well, I mean, last week,
glad you're bringing it back,
Sean.
Sean.
I didn't say it because
I just gotta go with it now.
It was the week off. I tried to do that conversation, and you weren't having that.
No, I wasn't.
You went straight on to Dave. So I'm like, you know what? That's how Sean does it. Got to go back to the what's up.
I needed to get to that D-Wade conversation. And
yeah, I know.
if we're going off popular vote here, Devin Booker won.
Popular vote.
Devin Booker
doesn't mean you're right.
Devin Booker says that I'm right.
I'm just saying, you know who else won popular
You're wrong.
vote, right?
You're wrong, Sean. You're wrong.
Not Trump.
This isn't the Electoral College. Anyways, we are talking about the starting small forwards in the 2017-2018 season. I still think it's 2016. We're going to be talking about the starting small forwards going into the 2017-2018 NBA season. We've done shooting guards. We've done point guards. I just want to clear one thing up. Andrew Wiggins was our 2. Jimmy Butler was our 3. If you're pissed off about it, I'm sorry. We can't do anything for you. So we were probably wrong. Oh, well. Anyways, let's jump into this. 30 through 21, we'll jump into this. First, for the YouTube people, if you're listening on Block Talk Radio, thank you so much. You got the whole podcast going already. You guys rock. If you're watching on YouTube, you're looking at 30 through 21, and let's go through the rankings. Starting off at number 30 is the Atlanta Hawks' Taurean Prince. At number 29, the New Orleans Pelicans' Solomon Hill. At 28, Justice Winslow of the Miami Heat. 27, we have Mo Harkless of the Portland Trailblazers. 26, we got Chandler Parsons from Memphis. 25, we got Josh Jackson, the Phoenix Suns' latest draft pick. We have Michael Kidd-Gilchrist from, I think, 24, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist from the Hornets. 23, we got Jumpin' Joe Ingles from Utah. And then CJ Miles from 22, the new Toronto Raptor, and then rounding out 21, good old Mr. Reliable, Trevor Ariza of the Houston Rockets. And boys, I want to jump to a guy of debate to start off with. Chandler Parsons, max contract last year, and played 34 games, shot 27% from 3, and was pretty much a complete bum. I think he started 3 games total, played 34.
It's a little harsh.
He was totally earned that contract.
Calling him a complete bum.
You get that much money, and he was hurt. And he didn't play, and when he did play, he was bad. I mean, he just looked like a completely different player this year. Coming in at 26, do you think we were honestly being too nice to Chandler Parsons?
Nice? No, I think that you guys were being perhaps a bit extreme. I think that what we saw last year at Chandler Parsons was not a healthy Chandler Parsons.
You did have him the highest.
What
you
a surprise.
Yeah, you had him at 20.
What a surprise. I'm sorry you didn't just drop him straight at 30 yourself. But no, look, he clearly wasn't healthy last year. He never was able to get into his groove. I think that this year we're going to see a return back to what he was able to do in Dallas. Not quite the Houston numbers, because that was obviously the offense. You could put up abusive numbers. We understand that. But what he could do in Dallas.
I mean, he was more efficient in Dallas.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like efficiency-wise, he'll be fairly good. I think he's still, like a 14-point-per-game score. He's not anything amazing, but he's going to get back to where he should be, and none of this, awful, I'm Kyle Singler level talent, with a max contract.
Well, and even with that, too, if he returns to that, 14 plateau that you're talking about, getting back to the old Chandler Parsons, that's still not worth a max contract. I just want to say that. But
there's been bad contracts before. It's not the worst.
We just got to take it for data, right?
Yep.
Since he's on the Grizzlies, take
that for data.
That's true. But looking at Parsons, I mean, I don't want to give him credit until he comes out and proves it, because, I mean, he's been injured before. This isn't the first time he's been injured. He hasn't played 80 games ever. The most he's played is 76. Outside of that, he's hit 70 one other time. He's been consistently hurt. He's been a guy that has been very brash, and yes, I know that he has the talent. I mean, you look at his three-point percentage. I mean, it's unreal numbers he's put up. Career 37% shooter from 3. In the past couple of years before this last one, it was 38, 37, 38, and then 41 in Dallas. It's not like he's a non-effective three-point shooter. He's 6'10" with a ton of athleticism. He has the tools to become a good defender. He's great at driving to the lane. So it's the skill sets are there, and I just want to go to the thing that I brought up. And Ricky, you can jump in on this if you want to. He's the Jay Cutler in some ways of the NBA.
You mentioned
just because
that.
he's got the skill sets there, but we've never been able to see it into where his top level might be a top small forward in the league, because he's got everything there. He's just never been able to put it together, and he's getting money to do it.
You mentioned that before the podcast, and I can kind of see it. The big things that make it polarizing is, one, I don't think as many people hate Chandler Parsons as there is hatred for Jay Cutler. And 2, the big difference is Jay Cutler plays quarterback in the NFL. People expected him to be a leader, whereas Chandler Parsons, I don't know, we get that same kind of assumption for to be a leader. The thing that I find interesting for this year around Chandler Parsons is I kind of feel like what the Grizzlies are going to use it as is if he gets injured, we have a guy behind him in Tariq Evans. However, the thing that I look at it is maybe it's like, hey, Parsons, you don't have to go as hard. You don't have to play and stress yourself out. You can go out there, fit the system, fit the role, do what you can do to help the team. We got someone behind you. We got someone that you guys can split the time and we can have an equal kind of footing out there compared to running you ragged out there because we don't have anyone behind you.
I just feel that's just crap, though, because he just signed this like, huge contract. And for 4 years,
but the contract's done. The contract is done and set.
Even if you're not running him for hard, you're still wasting pretty much 2 years on that. And I just find like I can't give him credit because he's got a ton of skills. I mean, I haven't been able to see him consistently put it together. He hasn't been consistently on the court as well.
Okay, it was one bad year. I mean, you're burying this kid over.
This wasn't
1
a
year.
bad year. This was an awful year.
Well, burying this guy
wasn't he able to hit 40%?
Same age as us.
He was.
I'm not a kid, Dave. I'm a man.
Fair.
I'm not 40 though.
He was awful. He was completely awful.
He was terrible.
And
but
right when he gets a contract.
You know what I think it was? He same route as Samson. He cut his hair, and then all of a sudden he puts this terrible garbage performance. It came from the hair. Came from the hair, Dave. It was the hair game. That's my thought. Is where all his failure strives from. The injury helped, but
the thing that I want to mention about Parsons is just the fact that if he proves me wrong and goes out and puts up efficient numbers like he did in Dallas and is able to be around a 16 to 17 point per game score. Good on him, and then I'll rank him higher next year. But I'll be wrong on the Chandler Parsons trade and miss the boat. I don't really care.
Well, it's like you said. You'd rather rank him too low and be wrong than rank him too high and be wrong.
And I think that's why they did take the safe route and go get Tyreke Evans, because we've seen what Tyreke can do in a smaller role, and if he needs to step up, he can. So,
and I think we'll get to Evans in six-man since we didn't mention him in shooting guard or small forward.
Right.
I think his spot now at six-man might be very interesting because he is a guy that we saw early in his career be a guy with the ball in his hand and be really effective. Obviously, we won the Rookie of the Year back in 2010. And I think that I don't want to get into Tyreke Evans thing, but even if Parsons isn't able to play, Evans stepping in, I like that move. Yeah. So the other thing with Chandler Parsons I want to mention before we move on to other players is with Zebo leaving. You just expect that there's got to be a step up in Parsons' game because he's got to be able to be like that third guy that Memphis goes to behind Connolly and behind Gasol, obviously. Right. So, I mean, you got to see a step up in play for Parsons. I mean, if he doesn't hit that 15 point per game plateau and isn't efficient, I mean, is it a waste of a year even if you don't?
You're just stuck with him.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying is like, is it like what makes it not waste of a year?
I think if we can get back to 14. Points per game, like 44% from the field and 40% from three. Like that is fine with me. I think that's a good recovery year because I mean, like you said, he was abysmal last year. He looked bad. I don't think he ever was healthy, like consistently. He never got into his groove. So I think if you give me 14 points a game, solid shooting percentage, and be able to stay on the court. Like I'm looking for 60 games. I'm looking for 65 games probably is where I would expect to put him at.
Yeah, and
if I got that, I would be happy with Chandler Parsons.
And coming in at 26, I mean, it's something where there's a lot of room to grow, and I think we'll talk about the growers later on in the segment. But the guys that I do want to go up the rankings. Taurean Prince was just, I mean, iffy in his rookie year. He's a rookie. I don't expect too much in the starting lineup. We don't have a lot to talk about.
Hawks,
yeah. I mean, honestly, if this was,
he has an opportunity. That's the best thing.
And he's got potential. I mean, you saw him at Baylor. He was an efficient scorer. He's got the ability to become a good 3-and-D small forward in the league. Solomon Hill, I think one guy that I want to bring up and just mention a little bit is, we've seen Solomon Hill be a guy that, his expectation is a 3-and-D, a guy like a Jay Crowder, but he hasn't been able to put all of that together, at least from the scoring side. Maybe Rajon Rondo's help coming in, maybe that will spark Solomon Hill in the ass a little bit, and maybe obviously DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis working together alongside Drew Holiday, and then also our boy Ian Clark as well.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Solomon Hill gets a little bit of pressure off, and we see that efficiency go up, and maybe Solomon Hill himself can go up. Justice Winslow, obviously the one-dimensional kid over in Miami. Do we expect too much out of Justice Winslow?
I was really high coming out of him out of Duke.
No.
There
Yeah.
might be a
No, I
bubble over
was.
here that said...
You were?
Yeah, I was. I was really high.
In
Like-
the redraft?
Yeah, how high would
I
you say?
thought,
Like,
what,
number
in the
2?
redraft? I don't know what I had him at.
You
but
had 2.
Basically, I was really high on him coming out.
Pretty sure
and,
you had him above
Did not
Porzingis.
translate coming into the NBA.
No.
Did not translate at all.
You
He's
had him
another one
above
of those guys
Porzingis.
where if he could shoot, great. If not, you still have a solid athlete, and he'll find his own kind of niche. And obviously last year he was hurt, but again he'll have opportunities.
You think he finds it this year?
I don't think he's gonna shoot well. I think he still can take it to the hoop and be okay doing that and being a defensive player.
Do you think he becomes Do you two think that he maybe possibly becomes the next Michael Kidd-Gilchrist?
Oh God! I mean, his shot's not that ugly, is it?
I mean, I just don't have
Kidd-Gilchrist's so good defensively though.
my expectations for Winslow. It's kind of the polar opposites. Where coming in, it was way up here. Now it's like the floor. It's
Give
like,
me
you
something.
know what? Like, whatever. Like, you're out there. That's how I look at it. It's like you're out
You're
there.
already moved on.
You're out there, and it's like when I think of the Miami Heat, I think of Waders County and
Well, hold on. Goran Dragic and
yes,
Whiteside.
Whiteside. That's what I was
You
thinking of.
you
I
can't
almost
say
said Haslam, and I was like, who the
He's- I'm
fuck thinks?
pretty sure Haslam's still on the team, right?
Over Whiteside though.
Potential.
Whiteside was the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
The thing with Waders County, you can't say Waders County. We said Waders County, and some guy in the comments was pissed that we
Don't
said
worry,
Waders County.
it's Waders County. He's just holding it until D Wade comes back. Then
Somebody
it's Wade
doesn't
County.
browse Reddit.
Anyways,
That's all.
we talk Mo Harkless. There's nothing really to talk about with his game. He's good.
He's consistent, but he's limited in his role because
Yeah.
of being in Portland.
I mean, you have two of the best, backcourt. You have one of the best backcourts in the league,
Yep.
and then you have Nurkic as well.
Yeah, who's coming just kicking
So
the door down.
as long as Mo Harkless doesn't honestly, if Mo Harkless just stays nameless, he's doing his good job. He's doing a
Absolutely.
good job. Like honestly, no one's like, oh, Mo Harkless, what a player.
Stays nameless.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as long as Mo Harkless is contributing, he's fine. Chandler Parsons we already talked about. This is the guy that I want to talk about, though. Josh Jackson of the Phoenix Suns. We put Josh Jackson over T.J. Warren. We obviously think T.J. Warren's further on his progression. I think T.J. Warren's really good, and I think when we get to the sixth man, I think I'll show how much love I have for T.J. Warren.
Yeah.
However, we want to talk about Josh Jackson, and we want to talk about how he is going to do. To compare a little bit, Ben Simmons is in another rookie small forward is way higher than him in these rankings. So, what is your expectations with Josh Jackson? Obviously, he's on a rougher team than Ben Simmons is in a rougher position in Phoenix. What are you expecting out of him? Because I think, Dave, you even mentioned something about Justice Winslow and possibly Josh Jackson having some overlap. Ricky, what do you think about Josh Jackson in Phoenix and how he's going to produce?
Well, my whole thing is when I look at the Phoenix Suns, obviously Suns fans or Devin Booker fans, one of the two, showed us their love for him last week. I want him to be I kind of want to say the Robin to Devin Booker, where it's like, you know what?
I don't think you've ever used that analogy
Every
before.
great person in the NBA has had a Robin or a number two behind them. If Devin Booker is going to be the eventual leader, number one of this team in the future, he's going to need that guy to fall back on. That could be Josh Jackson.
Do you think that Devin Booker is the number one and Josh Jackson is the number two for sure?
Yes,
do you think
that's
Josh
what I think.
Jackson can
That's
jump
what I
him?
think it'll start to go with. I don't
Oh,
know
it'll
if they
definitely
will
start
work
like that.
together.
I'd say.
That's the thing where I want to see in time how they work together.
No, but my question is,
You're
do you think
saying
do you think Josh Jackson, not
It
obviously
will-
this year,
if Jackson will eventually be the
If
number
Josh
one,
Jackson will be the
no,
go-to.
No, I think Devin Booker will be the number one, and if he's not the number one, he's not on the team.
I think
ask-
I'm on the other end of that one.
why exactly that? And
Because
we'll go to Dave.
I feel like not necessarily the fan base, but I feel like the team is going to go, no, Booker's our one, and Josh Jackson's going to be like, okay, I guess I'm the number two. And it, not saying it shouldn't be the other way eventually, but like it's going to be like, no, Booker's our number one, and they might force that.
Obviously, Dave and I have the We Agree podcast, and I'm on his side.
Unless it's
but
D-Wade.
Yeah,
Unless it's D-Wade.
I want to hear your reasoning, and I think we're going to be along the same
I
lines.
mean, for me, Josh Jackson has the higher top end because he's a two-way player. And the fact that he comes into the NBA with the physical tools and with the agility, with the speed to play defense basically 1 through 4. And I know going forward, it's only going to get better as he continues to develop his body. He is a fairly scary scorer when he drives to the hoop. He's very physical, I can see potentially him getting to the line a little bit more. But defensively, he's just everywhere. He's on the boards. He's always active. He literally like Energizer Bunny out there. He never runs out of steam.
Do you think he'll be able to bring that to the NBA though?
I do. I think that's one thing this Phoenix team is, because they're all so young, their play style is going to be catered to that, and it's going to let them kind of run the way they want it to. And look, I think Devin Booker is a tremendous scorer, and I think he's a pretty good player, but we've yet to see him do anything on one half of the ball. And to say that Josh Jackson could be a more complete thing is a fairly safe bet. And that's why I think that just top end, just watching what we've seen coming out of college, I would take Josh Jackson.
Well, the thing that I want to bring up is that I feel like if these two do hit their peaks, I feel like Josh Jackson could be the John Wall and Devin Booker can be the Bradley Beal, because we look at Josh Jackson, high energy, can drive to the hoop. Obviously, he needs to work on his outside game, but also an underrated part about Josh Jackson's game is his ability to handle the ball and his passing vision and his ability to pass. I mean, we saw it in college. He was able to control the ball, and I feel like if he's able to turn into a point forward, having a guy like Devin Booker that he can pass off to, like John Wall has Bradley Beal to go to, I feel like that could be a deadly one too. However, I see Josh Jackson with the more assets, both on the offensive and defensive side. He's going to be more of the go-to guy, and especially with the league going to more of a wing-focused league, I think that Josh Jackson, especially being able to hold the ball more and then being the distributor, where Devin Booker is more of the guy receiving, I feel like that's going to be the thing to play out. But again, we don't know how it's going to happen, because Devin Booker has been in the league for 3 years, and Josh Jackson might not stick.
There's a huge wrench that could get dropped into this situation if by some miraculous way Kyrie gets traded to the Suns. Then it's like, no, move over, kids. But now Kyrie's the number one.
The Suns are saying that Josh Jackson isn't going to be traded.
They're saying he's safe. I mean, and the only thing to knock on his game, again, this is way early, but like, his three-point shooting has not been fantastic, not been consistent.
In a league that now it's gone more towards the three.
Yeah, that's the only thing to worry about.
He did have nice numbers.
At the end of the season, he rounded out well, but then the summer league, he was just no.
Well, yeah, it's different too, because
he shot
Phoenix,
like 18%.
In Phoenix, you're not going to be getting these open looks like you were getting him in Kansas.
Yeah.
I think he really thrived on the baseline, if I'm correct, shooting threes from the baseline of college. I just feel like those looks aren't going to be there, obviously, when he moves to the NBA. And also, Kansas was a great team. Having Frank Mason alongside him, he was able to get shots set up even when they were playing high-level competition, and then moving that back, having guys in your face, and then also not having the same open looks and creating your shot from the outside. I feel like he's going to struggle with that. But he does have the ability to create his own shot, and then if he does find that stroke, I feel like Josh Jackson will be good. And I feel like if we're talking largest riser, I think Josh Jackson definitely has the highest ceiling for sure. The other guy I want to talk about is a guy that we were weirdly debated. We're going to jump over Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. The guy doesn't have too much offensively, but he's a fantastic defender, like Dave mentioned. We're talking about Justice Winslow, but jumping Joe Ingles.
I thought when you were saying the guy that could be the biggest riser is Josh Jackson. I get it's because he's a rookie, but part of me is like, what about Jumpin' Joe?
Jumpin' Joe.
If Joe, because the thing coming in with this Utah Jazz team that I think of, and I know Dave was kind of the highest of the three of us on Joe.
He was jumping on the building.
Yes, I get it. But he was coming off the bench last year. But how is he going to play this year without Gordon Hayward? So there's going to be more opportunity for him.
Obviously, with him starting,
with him starting now instead of coming off the bench. I am interested to see it because I'm not so confident in him, only in the fact of I wonder if it's like, you got those good looks because you were coming off the bench and now starting a different animal and a different way to get going in a game.
So, and using that great segue that Ricky had, check out the Onside Kick. He does that all the time with Mark Weber and the Primetime Podcast with Brandon Swanson. Dave, make the sales pitch about Jumpin' Joe Ingles, because you're the highest on Jumpin' Joe Ingles.
Honestly,
Jumpin' Joe Ingles, Slow-Mo Joe.
Yeah, slow-mo is Kyle Anderson. I will never give that up.
I'm just reading what Basketball Reference says, and
That's
the first nickname
is
Slow-Mo Joe.
Jump Jiving Joe Ingles. I think that the biggest thing that you guys are overlooking, perhaps, is the addition of Ricky Rubio to this team. One of the best facilitators in the NBA.
Still the loss of George Hill.
I understand. George Hill overperformed all expectations. I think we can all agree to that. Like, he played out of his mind last year. So I think Ricky Rubio is one of the better passers in this league. And I think that undercrediting what he can do for opening up looks for other people on his team, Joe Ingles, I think, will step into the role of the starting small forward on this team. His usage will go up a fair chunk because, honestly, when you look at the rest of that team, obviously you still have Gobert, you still have Favors, but when it comes to, scoring, it's pretty much Rodney Hood and himself. So I think that while he shot amazingly last year, I expect the, efficiency to go down a tick or two because of the usage going way through the roof. But I could see him going from, a guy who averaged 7, 3 and 2 to a guy who averages 14, 5 and 3.
It's a big jump.
But is it not reasonable? In my mind, it's reasonable because of the situation that's made available in Utah.
You also have to look at what with Utah. They lost Gordon Hayward, obviously, and they lost George Hill.
Yeah.
So you made that up with the addition of Ricky Rubio, at least in the assist categories, but scoring, obviously,
and actually,
that's
I think
taking a
that
fall.
George Hill is probably a worse passer than Ricky Rubio as well. So I think they upgraded as far as we're concerned for that. But I mean, pure points, even if you just look at points removed, points added, like between Hayward and George Hill, you're losing out on almost 40 points a game.
But the other thing I want to bring up is obviously those two hurt for sure. But
Yeah.
Joe, we're talking about how it's going to help Joe Ingles.
Exactly.
Quinn Snyder does run an offense that is based on getting everybody involved.
Yeah.
Because George Hill wasn't a great facilitator. However, he was a good enough facilitator to help the team.
Correct.
And that's the thing where Ricky Rubio might now, while he is a fantastic facilitator, how much are we going to see and how much will Quinn Snyder be able to use Ricky Rubio's skills to develop that in? So that's going to be interesting to see.
I trust in the psychopath.
I do too. That's why he was like,
I think
I had
Joe
him
Ingles is
high.
actually really good with the ball in his hands. Like he is, I think, probably underrated in that aspect because he doesn't get the opportunity to do it because he comes off the bench that second
But
unit.
also he's playing the second unit. So how much of that is really going? How much is that
It's
inflated by
fair.
the second unit?
It's just one of those guys who I've got in my back pocket who I really have an interest in.
The other thing I
year.
want to mention is you said Joe Ingles was pretty much the second option.
I
right?
think that for scoring, it's Rodney Hood and then Joe Ingles. I think
Yeah, that's what I said,
Gobert
second
is
option.
going to soak up a lot of touches, but I don't necessarily see them feeding him the ball all day.
The guy I wanted to mention, though, is Derek Favors, a guy that was very injured last year, only played 50 games, only started 39, was not even healthy, kind of like the Chandler Parsons situation. But before that, past 2 years, he was averaging 16 points per game. He was really dominating down low, at least offensively. He was efficient down there. And I look at Derek Favors, I feel like he is the second scoring option now with Gordon Hayward leaving if he's healthy. Because obviously Gobert can turn into something because, I mean, he's not that good of a shooter at all. He doesn't have a shot. But, we did see at least, what maybe DeAndre Jordan asked what he could do, Rudy Gobert, at least offensively. Or Hassan Whiteside, turning into that. I don't think he has the athleticism of those two, but I think Favors, if he's healthy, could really take over that second unit. So that second scoring option.
You still have ISO Joe on the bench and Donovan Mitchell, who looked amazing.
He was the guy that I wanted to bring up. Of if he I know that it's a rookie and you're going to ease him in early in the season, but when we get towards the end of the year, what is his role on this team, and does that play an effect into the, not necessarily the starting lineup, because I don't expect Mitchell to be a starter, but even that second unit and even mixing him in maybe with the starters?
Yeah, well, if they go small, then I'd probably see Hood sliding over to small forward, Ingles getting kicked out, and Mitchell going to the 2. But even then,
Potentially.
Rodney
Mitchell
Hood
can
isn't
even
that
play
big.
the 1 too. Mitchell can play the 1 or the 2.
We'll see what happens with that. But I think Joe Ingles, I think you're high on him. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think he's got a lot of room to grow there because of the opportunities provided. I don't know if he's necessarily going to kill it because of guys like Donovan Mitchell maybe coming in and taking some minutes, but we'll see.
And rounding out the top 20 or 1 is CJ Miles and Trevor Ariza, 2 reliable veterans. Looking at this list real quick, Dave, who are you going with? Joe Ingles as your highest riser? Possibly.
I think Josh Jackson. It's hard to walk away from. I like Joe Ingles, but Josh Jackson's the most realistic.
Ricky, you in the same boat with Josh Jackson?
I kind of feel like you have to. I would love to say either Joe Ingles or Chandler Parsons.
Parsons, actually.
Parsons is the thing with me. It's. I know Dave mentioned the 14 and 45, I think, % shooting. You said, stay healthy. I just want to see you in a healthy season play more than 34 games. I'll just go with Josh Jackson just as the default. You're the rookie. You have more potential. I want to see what you do in your rookie year. Are you going to ball out that rookie year, or is it kind of be like Brandon Ingram where it's man, we were high on you, and then this rankings it's we're not that high on you.
Well, we will get to Brandon Ingram, but one thing I want to mention is Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. If somehow he finds a shot, somehow.
Do you remember how high I was on him last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very high.
Extremely.
If he somehow finds a shot, he played 81 games. I'll give him that credit.
He did that, yeah.
If he's able to find a shot, or if he turns into a monster driving to the hole, Michael Kidd, he's going to go through the roof.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens there. But anyways, let's move on now to part number 2. 20 through 11. We got Bogdanovic leading it off at 20. I always mess. It's the Kings one.
Yes,
the Kings
that is the Kings.
Bogdanovic. Just want to make sure. Number 19, we got Terrence Ross of the Orlando Magic. At number 18, we have Brandon Ingram. At number 17, we have the brother, who's not actually his brother.
Yeah,
a brother from
the other
another mother. And I think a different country. Bojan Bogdanovic. And number 16, we have Alan Crabb, now of the Brooklyn Nets. At number 15. Wait, I just got rid of Jay Crowder. 15 is Jay Crowder.
Eventually, you'll get these numbers down.
15 is Jay Crowder, right? Yeah, 15 is Jay Crowder. Number 14 is Tobias Harris of the Detroit Pistons. Number 13 is Wilson Chandler of the Denver Nuggets. And number 12 is Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers. And Dave gave an eye roll there. And number 11, we got Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. Before we get into LaVine talk, Dave, why are you rolling your eyes at Ben Simmons?
I mean, I love the man.
You had him ranked at 14, so it's not like 12's a high jump. Why
12 is even higher than, because I did the same spot as last year. Because he's played as many games. He's played as many games. How can he go up if he hasn't played a game?
That's a good point. Last year.
Can you guys tell me?
Last year,
in my defense, I moved him down 1.
And in defense, he
was a
12.
top 10, and I moved him down 1.
In defense, last year he was 12. He hasn't moved. He's still 12. So, and I think honestly, you could say that the thing for Ben Simmons is that his ranking should go up because we haven't seen him. His team got better, and then also the fact he got a year older. So we expect years improvement.
That red shirt game for the 76ers is strong.
We expect a year improvement for these guys. So I don't think it'd be crazy that if Ben Simmons did move up.
But can he stay healthy?
Can he stay healthy?
Can that team stay healthy?
To be fair, he was healthy halfway through last year. They just decided that they were going to stay out of it to keep a high pick.
True, but then again, we had a freak accident happen last year. He gets injured, wasn't able to play at all. He even though he was healthy, he wasn't able to play. So going off of this, I think Ben Simmons has the ability to become a top 10 small forward by the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean he was the number 1 overall pick for a reason, obviously.
The question is, will he do it though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean simply because looking at mine, it came down to 2 players for my number 10 spot. It was either Ben Simmons or Danilo Gallinari, and I looked at it and I was like, Ben Simmons, the only way he loses out to Danilo in my mind is if he doesn't play again. That's the only way. But I expect him to play this year. So that's why I put him.
But what are you
10.
expecting from Ben Simmons this year?
He's the one where it's like, I've said it so much about the 76er team. I don't know what to expect.
Well,
because
if you're putting him 12 or 10, I'm sorry. If you're putting him 10, give me a stat line.
I expect him to be the main, to me, I want to see him run the offense, and I want to see this kind of shot. I want to see, maybe 7, at the low end, 7 assists a game. That's low. That is bad assist game. For Ben Simmons,
I thought you were about to say 17 points. I was like, whoa!
7,
scored 17 points.
7 assists, maybe 15 points is okay, that's doable.
That's
but I would like to see a little bit. I want to see sky's the limit. You're a number 1 pick, and yeah, I know you had the year off. I know,
but he's not a scorer.
But that's why I said I want to see. I'm not expecting him to lead the team in scoring, but I want him to be a jack of all trades for this team.
Would you say 15, 8, and 7 is good?
Yeah, I'd take that.
Dave, would you agree, or you think?
That'd be a great year
too
for
high.
him. I think that's a little high.
Okay.
I would take it in a heartbeat.
I think he's probably 13, 6, and 6. Yeah.
I would say I think the rebounds are definitely going to be there for him. Because you look at him, he's athletic as hell, 6'10". It's not like he's not going to be able to grab boards.
And he's supposedly growing still.
Yeah.
If you believe all the offseason rumors. He put on 30 pounds of muscle, and he grew 3 inches.
He's now a 7'1" Hawk. Not the Atlanta Hawks, an actual Hawk.
He's actually picked up by the Bucks. You know? His wingspan grew so much.
But Ben Simmons, I feel like, obviously I don't think the defense will be there. He's not really known for defense. And he could grow into a good defender because of his wingspan, because of his athleticism. But you're going to at least expect him to be a decent facilitator.
I think everything's just been overshadowed so much by how good of a facilitator he has been. The 10 minutes of summer league highlights we have from last year were enough to get all of us incredibly psyched for him. Not only on top of his college highlights. So I think that almost that overshadows how much of a well-rounded player he could be I don't want to say like he can be like as defensively stout as anybody else out there, but like probably not. But he has an amazingly huge body, like you said, 6'10" coming out, probably bigger now, and I think that just it's gonna get better for him. I'm just a little concerned about the stat line across the board and how this 76ers team meshes.
Yeah, going off of the Westgate Superbook, they have Ben Simmons as the favorite, 5-2, to win the NBA Rookie of the Year. So, I mean, obviously he's got to have a nice season to do this. And Malcolm Brogdon kind of screwed it up because there wasn't really any great rookies besides him last year that really made noise. I mean...
No, there were two on the 76ers, which is what caused the problem.
Dario and then Embiid, but Embiid played 33 games.
And he dominated every single one of them.
He didn't play... What's 82 divided by 2? Yeah, that's like 41. Yeah, it's 41. I know how to do math.
Yeah.
He didn't even play a half of a season.
Yeah.
So you can't win an award for that. I know Joel Embiid was fantastic, but Joel
More
Embiid also
impactful
isn't really a
in every game
rookie.
he played.
Joel Embiid was 24 playing against
He was
rookies.
not 24.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm being facetious.
I know.
But something with Ben Simmons, you have to expect that he's going to be a
It's him or
dominant player.
Ball is probably the high,
But
for MVP.
but with Ben
Or rookie,
Simmons,
I'm sorry,
like what I'm saying is he's got to dominate in some games. I mean, he can't go like 13, 6 and 5, and then not dominate any games. That can't be his average, and just that can't be like his peak as well. Like he's got to go out and show something out there, and I think he will. And especially playing alongside JJ Redick, playing alongside Joel Embiid, playing alongside Markelle Fultz. I think the potential is obviously there for him to have a fantastic season and possibly move up into the top 10.
I can't wait for I can already imagine it in my head. Ben Simmons drives into the lane, kick out J.J. Redick for 3, kick out Joel Embiid. Well, if he's healthy and on the floor, kick out to Joel Embiid for 3.
You watch yourself.
And I mean, just like those two more so. Because I mean, looking
Markelle
at the
Fultz?
like Markelle, like
Ricky's low on Markelle. Remember
the
that.
thing with Markelle
Right.
is I want to see him actually play like some actual games before I think like, oh yeah, kicking it out to Markelle for a 3. And plus, I don't know how they're going to gel them.
Because they're only shooting threes, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I would
shoot
do.
anything else.
That would I do.
We're apparently playing for Houston now.
This isn't 2K,
look at the Rockets. Look at the Warriors. 3 points wins basketball games. But I mean, I want to see. I want to see how they use Simmons with Fultz because both of them. I know that Fultz can play off the ball, but with Ben Simmons being the point forward, how they use them with, okay, you get the ball a little bit, you get the ball a little bit, and both of them being ball handlers
And they
for the
both
team.
were number 1 overall picks. So it's surprising. Are you that much higher on Ben Simmons than Markelle Fultz?
Yes, I am. If you told me, Ricky, you have to pick one or the other, I'm taking Ben Simmons.
Is it because of his size and his position? I mean, he is kind of a unicorn in the sense of like Giannis is.
Potentially.
In this day and age in the NBA, if you look at Giannis is one of the ones where I almost put the hard G. But, I mean, you look at Giannis, and he's the only one where I kind of go, only because Dave loves to bring up the stat of he's the one where, his team's actually better with him off the court.
Yeah.
But I like the point forward in this day and age more so than a dominant point guard that can go. I'd rather have my point guard be like I want to say like a Steph Curry in this age where it's like, yeah, he can shoot the 3 really well. Yeah, he can go to the rim if he wants to, but he's just going to light it up from beyond the arc.
What position finished top 2 for MVP voting this year?
For this one?
Yeah.
Was it point
guard.
forward? Okay.
Point guard.
Well, point guard.
Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Russ is kind of like
LeBron James in his mind.
Russ is also that he's not that Steph Curry type of player. He more
LeBron
plays.
James is also a point guard. Come on.
He more plays like that LeBron James style of like I'm going to go to the rim. I'm going to take it to the basket. Westbrook ain't sitting there jacking up threes.
What Ben Simmons could be. You know, if he tops out in every area he could be similar physically and play style wise to what LeBron James can do. You know, it's coming out of school. They both didn't really have a very well developed shot. They're both amazing passers. I think Ben Simmons is a better passer, but LeBron James definitely more physical and more aggressive. So, I mean, either way, I agree with you. The sky's the limit. Fultz is. I would definitely take Ben Simmons over Fultz, but like. I could easily see him already going top 10.
We got to move off Ben Simmons, however.
But Zach LaVine above him is the thing that kills
That's
me.
the guy that we're talking about. Zach LaVine
Thank you
coming
for bringing
in
that up.
at number 11. Ricky had him ranked number 9 for some reason. Ricky, we never actually got to talk to you about the Jimmy Butler trade.
The Jimmy Butler trade?
Now I'm realizing how high you are on Zach LaVine.
I like
you
Zach
Bulls
LaVine.
homer.
I liked him in Minnesota too. It was like the injury though was the big question because
Now he puts on red.
I'll be honest. I thought
Better than
coming into tonight after talking to Dave at dinner last night, I was like, okay, where the fuck am I putting Zip God? Like,
I mean,
where am I putting the zip
was
guy?
selling
That's
him.
something I want to clear up. Zach LaVine, from what we've heard, is that he's going to be at least
November.
be able to play before 2018 starts.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just saying that Zach LaVine, when he is healthy, he's going to start.
They're hoping to have him back by November. Levine has even said he's shooting for start of the season.
So
And of course, that's with the assumption that Wade will still be on the team. Otherwise, everybody shifts one to the left.
yeah, and he plays the 2, and then
Yeah.
Zipser actually is your 3. So then these rankings are pointless. Then. But with LaVine, why is he 9? Because he's coming off tearing his ACL. I understand he put up 18 points last year. He was fairly efficient from 3. I mean, around near 40%. But why at 9? Top 10 is pretty hefty for that.
Well, and the thing that I look at is
Especially playing behind Andrew Wiggins and Cat.
Well, and that's the thing. In this Bulls team, the big thing you got to look at is, let's say even if they get rid of D-Wade, even if they keep D-Wade, he's going to have more options in Chicago to kind of do his thing because we don't have a guy like Cat. We do not have a pick like Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah,
Jimmy
36-year-old
Butler ain't on that
D-Wade.
team. Well, D-Wade is not going to take too much away from Zach LaVine. The thing that I look at and the thing that I was going to compare it to is, yeah, they got Cat and Wiggins. We have Denzel Valentine, which people like in the comment section is he's a bust. So Zach LaVine's going to have a ton of options in Chicago to flourish. And I mean, I look at his stats from his injured season. I mean, almost 19 points per game last year. I mean, I would like the assists and rebounds to be up more from around 3.
He was playing with Ricky Rubio, and Ricky Rubio was the main ball
And
handler.
I mean,
It
that's
wasn't like
another
he
thing.
wasn't.
Rondo's not going to be there either to run the point. So it's like the point guard situation is going to be a little different in Chicago. He's going to be
You don't
able...
trust Chris Dunn?
Well, I want to see what we can get from Chris Dunn. I do, because yet again,
I mean, how many picks are we writing off here?
high on him coming out, but I mean, I could see him scoring because of what we have on this Bulls team. I could see him getting more points, more assists, more rebounds than he did with the Bucks last year.
Not Bucks, Timberwolves.
With Timberwolves.
The young Bucks of
Yes.
the Timberwolves. I'll save your ass there. I mean, obviously you want those numbers to go up, but it doesn't. But how much does it matter if he goes up? If his like efficiency doesn't go up? I mean, like if he hits 20 points, cool, he hit 20 points. But like if he's not winning, I mean, he was below per. He was 14.6 per. I mean, that's below the average.
Yeah.
And you're a big guy on per. I mean, are you taking those numbers into advantage because
look,
Minnesota isn't a big?
We knew Minnesota didn't play defense.
No,
like,
they
Cat
didn't.
was statistically
expect him
the
to play
worst
defense
defensive
now?
center in the league. Wiggins was awful. LaVine was awful. They were all in like the bottom 20 respectively for their positions defensively. So I don't think at any point in time we had an idea that they would, ever pan out that way. But look, Ricky's right. There's opportunity in Chicago because we are such a terrible team. My concern is what he eventually got to, which is the lack of a point guard.
Yeah.
And the lack of another threat on the floor, if D-Wade leaves, means that there's no point in them switching off. He will always
he's
have
the
the
guy.
best defender on him, which means I see that efficiency going down. I don't know if he's going to have as close to an efficient year, but I think he's going to end up chucking up a lot of shots because we're literally just going to have the time. I mean, to be fair, this year we are pretty much openly tanking for, a shot at Bagley or any of the other Michael Porter Jr. Like there are a ton of top 5 picks that are all potentially amazing. So I think that's the Bulls are admitted like that's what we're going for. So this year is really like you have the ball in your hands. Let's just see what you can do because it's you and a 7-footer who I don't believe in, but who could be good.
Lauri
Markkanen. I flipped like completely 180 on him in a single year. But no, I think that
I remember
he's gonna
you
put up-
defending him.
Oh, absolutely.
In the what game were they? It was one of the tournament games. You're like, they're not even getting the ball. Trier's doing this. They're not even giving it to Lauri. He was really adamant about that.
I was. But again, this is a team that's very young and will underperform at every step, pretty much in my mind. So he's going to put up 21 points a game, but he's going to do it on like 47%, efficiency.
But
here's the thing I quickly want to bring up. The number, read off the per that you mentioned, the
14.6.
14.6, yeah.
the 14.6,
which is below average of 15.
If you look at our just starting point guards, we have one,
He's on a
two.
point
Shooting guard.
Well,
I'm sorry, small forward.
small
We're small
forward.
forward,
So
yeah. Jesus.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Only the top 13 players in these rankings, so above half, have that per. Like,
Okay, and he's 9 on your rankings.
Well, and
so
that's
why
the thing where when I looked at per with the small forward, I kind of lessened per a little bit because I looked at all the pers for small forwards, and to me, it's looked like a crapshoot.
To be fair, per is not a perfect.
Yeah, it's not a perfect indicator, but also wait.
But I talk about Devin Booker being 20 years old, and you guys go straight to per.
Zach LaVine and Devin Booker are
different players.
They're different players, but they're cut from the same fabric of we just don't play defense. But there's not even an attempt.
Also,
but why are we defending Zach LaVine over Devin Booker? Is the question I want to say. I want to ask.
I just want to throw out the thing before you guys get into that is the thing that I've had with these rankings of the small forwards is as soon as I got past the top 7, maybe even top 8, I'll throw Harrison Barnes in there as the cherry. After that top 8, I looked at it and I went, to me, there's just a huge drop-off from talent between the top and even the middle of the small forwards where it's like, point guard, shooting guard, we're still talking about the middle. It's like, oh, these are still guys that
there's
can
like
contribute.
20 point guards who are all close.
After 8, it is just a drop-off.
Well, yeah, I mean, 13 through 1, I mean, we have guys from 89 to 55, and then right after that we have 54, 47, like point-wise, when we add up all their rankings. I mean, it's pretty consistent and pretty close from Jay Crowder below. I mean, it's not like it's crazy here. But the question I have is,
I'm saying what makes drop off in like not talent, but
but I'm saying that reflects in our rankings.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
In our rankings, it shows in the talent with the way that we add up the numbers.
Plus, yet again, this was one of the positions so far we have had. We had one tie, and that was Carson. Yeah. That was Chandler Parsons and Josh Jackson.
Yeah,
that was the only tie.
But with the Zach LaVine and Devin Booker, why does Zach LaVine get a bye? Or pretty much, because you're defending Zach LaVine here.
I am,
but you're not defending Devin Booker.
I think. Well, to be fair, where was Devin Booker ranked for us?
Booker was top 10, I think.
Yeah, so
but small forward's deeper.
I understand that.
I would say small forward has at least
it has a higher high.
Booker was 9.
Thank you. So Ricky at least consistent with his rankings, but. My point is, per is only as good when you are a star. When you're a role player on a team, your per won't be as high. CJ Miles has a per, at like 13 because he's a role player. He's never going to be the guy in the town. Zach LaVine had a per of 14.6 because he didn't play defense, but he was one of their big 3. Like, he was, obviously transcendent talent.
18 points per game is something, close to 19 is something marginal. It's
absolutely,
huge.
And that's the same. Devin Booker, same thing. He was the guy. And that's all I want to say about per is it's not a perfect stat, but when you are the guy in the team, like, your per is expected to be in that, 20, at least above 15. But
the final thing I want to mention is I don't know if Zach LaVine is going to take a huge jump to 20 points per game because, yes, his usage is going up. However, he was playing, those 3 were the only scores on the team.
The looks are going to go away now.
Yeah, those 3, you're playing with Cat and Wiggins, 2 phenomenally gifted offensive players. And not saying Zach LaVine isn't phenomenally gifted offensively. He's very athletic.
In a couple of years.
He's a decent shooter, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it by himself. So that's something where I'm a little hesitant in seeing him at 11. I think that's crazy. But let's go to the guys that are kind of underrated. Dave, who's kind of below LaVine and Simmons at 11 and 12?
Tobias Harris. Like, that one blows my freaking mind.
What about Tobias Harris? Tobias Harris coming in at 15 on our rankings.
Dave had him at 11.
Yeah, 14. I'm sorry, 14 in our rankings. What is about Tobias Harris that he is so low?
I don't understand how you guys don't value it. And this might be just, I know we talked about it a little bit, the snake bitten because of the Detroit underperformance last year, underperformers. But again, he was basically their rock last year. When they had an underperforming point guard, an underperforming center, like the one man they could count on was KCP and Tobias Harris. So it's basically between those two. And KCP is a defensive. He's
gifted defensively.
Gifted defensively. And Tobias Harris was basically carrying that offense. And I think that personally, someone who can contribute as much as he can is and efficiently. I'm just dumbfounded by the fact that he is not, butting up for that 11-12 spot in my mind is where I would have him.
The thing that I got to get bitten here is, you compare Zach LaVine and Tobias Harris numbers. Tobias Harris was a better player. You look he was a better player. The only reason why I have him there is because Tobias Harris, in the role that Zach LaVine is pretty much being forced to be the guy offensively, like Tobias Harris was last year, being kind of pigeonholed into that. Tobias Harris, this was his top. I think Zach LaVine has that a higher top, and now being forced into that. That's the only reason why I have Zach LaVine higher.
And that's fair.
And not trying to discredit what Tobias Harris has done. I mean, he was an efficient player last year, and he was actually below his average when it comes to three because he wasn't getting open looks. He wasn't getting the right looks. Tobias Harris can definitely take a jump in my mind. And like I said to Ricky, and what Ricky brought up is I'd rather be wrong about a player and say I was wrong. So I would rather rank him low. And it's not anything to do with, Tobias Harris and what he did. I just feel we saw the top end of Tobias Harris, and we're not going to see that again, where I think the guys that are above him, I think that we can see a higher tire happen because Wilson Chandler, a guy like him, he's going to get more usage with Danilo going out. And I think Wilson Chandler's a good player. And I think Wilson Chandler's still going to thrive in Denver.
It's also a confidence thing because I'll bring it back to what we were talking about with LaVine. I put LaVine where I did. Yeah, some people might think that's a little too high.
It is.
But it's a confidence thing. That's how confident I am with LaVine in the system and the more opportunities he'll have here. If you're looking at Tobias Harris and you're like, you know what, I could put him there, but I'm not that confident, then put him lower on the ranking. And that's what I kind of went into it, and I kind of had Tobias the same as you at 14.
Yeah, I had him at 14, and I don't see because I look at Wilson Chandler. His usage is going to go up. Wilson Chandler's a good player, and I think that Wilson Chandler on a Denver team that I feel more confident in, I think that Wilson Chandler's going to do a better job.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue with Tobias might be the lack of faith in what Detroit's doing because Reggie Jackson shit the bed last year because Drummond couldn't stay on the court when the game actually mattered. And it was just there was so much drama and there was so much there's so many issues. Yeah.
They weren't a unit. They were not a team last year.
But if you can look at that team and say the one thing on that team that you're positive about, it's Tobias Harris, which kind of sucks for you Magic fans. Just want to take a dig at you one more time because you fucked up. But it's Tobias Harris. He is the one consistent bright spot of that team, and that's why I think that I agree. Like Wilson Chandler has a chance because of his usage going up because that offense has such potential this year, and it took off last year, obviously, for the second half with Jokic taking over, as basically point center. But I still think Tobias Harris just complete player, get you boards, get you points, and he can guard back and forth. And that's the thing is like there's nothing about that game, and that's why I have the question because like LaVine, you're right, he can take another step above Tobias Harris. Will he do it this year? I don't know.
Well, especially with his injury, it's
we
tough.
hope so.
Yeah.
But if you give me a stat line next year, am I gonna be surprised when Tobias Harris beats them both out on a stat line? No.
Well, Zach LaVine, I wouldn't be surprised if he beats out Ben Simmons. I will be surprised. At least when it comes to value added to a team, I feel
win
like
shares. Are we talking?
Yeah, I feel like
I mean, like, how advanced stats are we getting?
I just feel like Ben Simmons will be more valuable to his team.
Okay,
and that's the only reason why I would rank him higher. And I think
ball in his hands more. I think usage plays a huge factor.
And I just think that Ben Simmons is going to be more of a leader, where Tobias Harris isn't that guy. Where I look at Tobias Harris and he's a quiet guy. He's and you look at him.
I think he's a
like
great two.
Yeah, he's a good player, and there's nothing against that. I just don't see that top end there.
Yeah.
Ricky, when you're looking at these rankings, I know you're talking about how it kind of drops off.
Well,
after Barnes. But behind those guys, outside of Tobias Harris, Zach LaVine, and Ben Simmons, who do you see as the guy that you want to mention?
There's two, and this is a conversation I wanted to have, and they're right next to each other in our rankings.
Yeah.
Should Allen Crabbe, and I know it's 47 points for Crowder, 41 for Crabbe, so they're not super close, but they're not super far. Should they be flipped? Because, like, with Crabbe, the thing I think of, and I know that in a past text message, I believe you two went back and forth on Allen Crabbe when he was traded to the Nets. I feel like I look at the rankings and I go, should they be flipped? Because Crabbe's going to get more opportunities with the Nets. Yeah, he's got Lynn and Russell still there, but Lynn and Russell are not going to be like Dame and CJ when it comes to just
not.
how how good of players they are. And I look at Jay Crowder and I go, yeah, he's the small forward right now.
Well, we're iffy on that because Dave even flipped on that.
But does Brown or Tatum overtake him this season?
Well, that I don't think plays into the rankings. It's comparing Crowder against Crabbe.
Well, I think it kind of like if you're not going to have that starting job all the way through, why should we rank you that high?
Well, Crab's getting it because he's on a shit team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His usage.
If we were building a starting lineup, I would rather take Jay Crowder over Alan Crabb because Jay Crowder fits a role. And Alan Crabb, he's ridiculous efficient from three. Yeah. I mean, that was 44% from three is unreal.
Yep.
However, I don't see that top end from Alan Crabb at least adding value to my team, and I think that's the reason why you see the contract he signed in Portland saying we don't want to fucking pay that.
Oh, yeah.
And then they traded him. With Jay Crowder, not only is he on a cheaper contract, and even not taking that in, Jay Crowder adds a level to your team that is really unmeasurable. His defense and his tenacity on just everywhere, I think, bolsters your team. And Boston having a guy like Jay Crowder, he's going to help you in the playoffs. He's going to help you in close games. And I feel like Alan Crabb, I don't get that. And even if Alan Crabb is more efficient and Alan Crabb is putting up more points and Alan Crabb is helping his team both offensively and defensively, if Crowder's giving me that a little bit of lower level, at least stat wise, and is still helping my team offensively and defensively, I would still take that because Jay Crowder has that next level to him, at least as a player, that I like more compared to Alan Crabb. So that's the only reason why I have Crowder above a guy like Alan Crabb. And I think that's the reason why Jay Crowder is there, because there's a lot of more talented guys. I mean, Brandon Ingram, Terrence Ross, Bogdan, and Bojan. I mean, those guys all serve roles, and they all fill those roles very efficiently. I mean, Brandon Ingram...
Efficiently, not Brandon
Not Brandon Ingram, but I'm saying, Brandon Ingram is young, and Brandon Ingram can take those steps to become a top 10 small forward in his future. Bogdan and Bojan, those guys can be skilled three-point shooters that are lights out on your team. Terrence Ross is a guy that does everything offensively and everything scoring offensively and could be very valuable to the team. However, I see Jay Crowder as that guy that can take it to the next level, where those guys, I have not seen that yet with Ingram, Ross, Bogdanovich times 2, and Crabb. So that's the reason why I have that guy. Those there. The only guy I want to mention is Brandon Ingram. We haven't talked about it. Where's Brandon Ingram going to end before we end the segment? Where's Brandon Ingram going to go at the next year?
Short and simple. He ends higher, maybe upper of this echelon at the least next year.
Does he jump Jay Crowder?
Yes, because of Lonzo.
Does he jump the Jay Crowder?
Yes, because of Lonzo and them playing off each other, he's going to have a better year.
Dave?
I mean, I think that's fair to say. We all were really high on him coming out of college. He clearly underperformed for the Lakers last year. But again, they start off hot, and then they obviously decide to go dumpster diving because who wants good picks? We do. I think Lonzo Ball addition is huge. I think that him not having to be the pure scorer because he's not, I think it's that acknowledgement. He's really good with his defense.
Not.
He's lanky, and he has a good presence of mind to get his hand on the ball when it's near him. The thing is, it's like adding Brook Lopez and Lonzo Ball to that team shifts the dynamic of his role entirely. So I think that I feel really comfortable. And they were talking about, we're going to have Brandon play the 1, the 2, the 3. He's going to be everywhere this year.
You guys had 4 positions, right?
Even the 4, yeah. And it's just like, we want to make this, make sure that he is the fit and he is the way we go with this franchise. So I think he's got a really good chance to jump, but he's got to stay consistent with his shot. And that's the one thing we watched him change at least 3 times last year. If you can hit his role there, then I think that we're all set.
Also, next year he'll be a 2 because LeBron will be here for the Lakers.
All right, anyways, let's now move into LeBron James territory and the top 10 of the small forwards in the NBA, the starting small forwards in the NBA. Let's jump into number 10, the newest Los Angeles Clippers, Danilo Gallinari. At number 9, the Washington Wizard, Otto Porter. Man just got paid. At number 8, we got Harrison Barnes, the guy who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, had one hell of a year in Dallas, and now he is number 8. Number 7, Melo, coming in from the New York Knicks. Number 6, we got Paul George, the newest Thunder. Number 5, we have Jimmy Buckets of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 4, we have the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I knew you were going to do that.
Doing that on purpose.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 3, we have Kawhi Leonard. And number 2, we have Kevin Durant of the Golden State Warriors. And number 1, we have the King, LeBron James. So, Ricky, you got some bullshit going on. You have Kevin Durant number
bullshit.
1.
Defend yourself,
you
sir.
have
No bullshit.
You have Kevin Durant number 1 in your rankings. It did not matter because Dave and I had LeBron James number 1.
No,
However,
I knew LeBron was going to be number 1, but I like Durant a little bit better this year coming in.
Okay, why?
Because to me, even
why is he the number 1 small forward?
When I look at LeBron, I look at KD. First thing I want to say, it's not a huge gap. It's a marginal gap. It is like the tiniest of slivers between them coming in. Yes, I know I was an advocate for LeBron as MVP. However, you look at what Durant did. You look at what Durant did when they went 1v1 against each other and their teams went against each other.
They went 5v5.
That's
how basketball works.
Gentleman sweep in the finals. Durant was the MVP. There was no kind of like, well, Durant was great and all, but Steph Curry was the real MVP. No, Kevin Durant was the MVP. Just coming into this season, I look at it based off of, yes, LeBron played great last year, but because of how it ends, because I think you got to take that into consideration, this year it's like, okay, LeBron, you come in at number 2, just barely under LeBron. I'd put him at like 1A, 1B.
May I throw some stats at you, sir?
Sure, go ahead. You're not going to change my mind.
Well, I mean, that's real quick. Why wouldn't you be allowed to? This is a podcast. We're supposed to be talking about it.
I'm just curious.
No, Dave, you can't.
No stats.
Get out of here.
I don't know. I feel like Ricky might just take offense to stats. They're all fake news to him. But
You're wrong.
Head-to-head record, normal season, LeBron 14-4 against Kevin Durant. 28 points versus 28 points. I mean, they're spot on.
What's postseason?
Postseason, they're 5-5. And but get this, because the one season, literally one season changed that. But get this, so Kevin Durant put up 32.9, 7.1, 3.8. LeBron put up 31.1, 11.1, 8.7. Like, LeBron James does an overwhelming amount more carrying than Kevin Durant does. Kevin Durant got to play on a team with 3 other All-Stars last year.
I'm not saying LeBron James is a bad player. I'm just saying coming into this year,
who did more this year? Who did more? Who did more? Who did more for their team?
Who was the MVP from your regular season?
Yeah, who did you vote for?
Who was my MVP?
Yeah.
I said it was LeBron James.
Okay, and then
but just because he was my MVP.
So just because Kevin Durant
because he was the most valuable player does not mean he's the better
finals.
Player.
For 5 games. For 5 games, he's the most valuable player.
It's not like Kevin Durant was chopped liver this year.
No.
He
was the number 2.
But would you say he was definitely the most important player on the Golden State Warriors in the regular season?
Like I said,
enough to win
in my rankings, I'm putting Durant over LeBron. But for me, in my mind, it's 1A, 1B. That is how close
That's not how rankings work.
But
that's how close they are in my head.
The thing is that I'm just saying, like, they could be 1A, 1B.
Yeah,
but
next year
LeBron James has been dominant.
Next year they could flip. It could be completely different.
Last year we were talking about this, the same exact thing. And I'm just wondering what changed from this year to last year besides the last 5 games we saw. I just feel like there's a lot of recency bias because last year we were literally
not. Also,
real quick.
Look at the year before, Durant just choked in the playoffs.
Okay, LeBron has not done that for a while now in the playoffs. The past 2 seasons, LeBron has carried the Cavs to where they have gone in the finals. LeBron has been absolutely ridiculous both in the finals and in the playoffs for the past 2 years. KD has choked. And before he went to the Golden State Warriors with 3 other All-Stars on his team, he was choking. I mean, he has not been able to go to the finals. He's gone to the finals once before this.
And he got rolled.
And he got rolled by LeBron.
Yep.
And now he needs 3 other All-Stars to roll LeBron. And yes, he did fantastic. And I'm not saying Kevin Durant didn't deserve it.
And he won the MVP.
I'm not saying Kevin Durant didn't deserve that. Kevin Durant was fantastic.
Yeah. Yep.
However, it doesn't mean that LeBron also wasn't fantastic.
Oh,
and it also doesn't mean that
wasn't fantastic.
LeBron did more carrying in that finals.
Just because, and this is the whole thing, and this is where you guys were coming in at, is just because I have LeBron at 2 and KD at 1 this year doesn't mean I think any less of a player of LeBron James. Next year, this could completely flip based on how they're
LeBron's been
playing.
The best player in the NBA for the last 10 years?
Point being, 12
years?
He could be the best one. But I mean, coming into this year,
Kobe
and Sean,
era,
you asked me the question before the podcast. Who would I take coming into this year? I'm taking Kevin Durant right now. I'm taking Kevin Durant. If you're giving me a choice, 1v1. But it's not like, oh my God, I'm not taking LeBron.
1v1.
I'm not, he said even if you're like you need one player to be your small forward, I took Kevin Durant right now.
Is there anything LeBron James can do or can't do better than Kevin Durant other than score from behind the 3-point line?
Free throws.
Free throws. Oh, consistency from free throw line.
Other than that, no.
All right, so he's got 2 things.
So
he's got 2 aspects of his
honestly,
game.
what does LeBron need to do to be number 1? Or what does KD need to do to separate himself?
What is KD?
Honestly, right now you're saying they're 1A, 1B right now.
There is no way that KD separates himself more than 1A, 1B from LeBron.
Okay, but LeBron can jump him, obviously.
Yeah, he can jump him.
So, I mean, I just feel like...
What would it take? Because what haven't we seen out of LeBron?
If LeBron actually won the... I know I thought he was the MVP...
He won the finals. It's a 5-on-5 game.
But if he would have won, now I'm not talking about the finals. I'm talking about the actual season.
Okay.
If he would have won the season MVP and actually got that award, then they would have canceled each other out.
But how much does it matter?
A meaningless award, Mr. Russell Westbrook.
I was right.
I know you were right, but it's all like you're riding him that he won the MVP.
Yeah, because he did something that hadn't been done in 40 years.
This is where I have him. I have Durant coming in. Next year, I could have LeBron coming in.
Real quick.
We got to play the season.
Real quick. How much do these awards mean to Ricky? Apparently not much, because Steph Curry was the number 1 point guard. Russ was 2. Mm-hmm. So Russ even winning the MVP doesn't mean shit.
No, that's why I said meaningless.
Steph was 1.
Yep.
Because
Steph
why?
is 1.
Because why? Steph has the credibility. Steph has the past. Steph has the 2 previous years before it.
The thing that knocks me down with Russ in rankings is, like, there's a reason Durant left, and that reason was Russell Westbrook. The reason was he couldn't win. That's why he left.
No, because he had an easy-ass fucking road to the finals.
Well, I mean,
he had a 16-1 road to the finals
so
with Golden State.
If you're Kevin Durant and the Warriors knocked on your door, would you seriously say no? Sorry, guys.
No, and I'm not getting this into this conversation.
Too easy. I know, but like this is Kevin Durant 1A, LeBron 1B for me coming into this year. He could flip.
Yeah, KD can't jump him, like separate him enough.
He can't separate, but LeBron can flip it.
I don't know about that.
LeBron has literally gotten better with age. That doesn't happen.
LeBron James, to me,
it does have Tom Brady.
No, true. That doesn't happen in basketball. It doesn't happen in basketball.
It's true.
Our heroes in basketball get worse with age.
Jeff Hornacek.
No.
That dude had his best years when he was like 34.
His best years were still not anywhere close to a level of a good basketball player.
Are you sure?
A great basketball player.
Are you sure that Jeff Hornacek wasn't LeBron level?
I'm pretty sure
he was LeBron level.
I'm pretty sure. It blows my freaking mind. Please, let's talk about some of these other guys who deserve some credit.
LeBron to me is by far the best player in the NBA, in basketball. I don't think I'm making a crazy statement by that. That's why he's number 1. That's why he's number 1, and I don't think it was really close. And it wasn't close last year when we had these rankings. I don't know if much has changed besides Kevin Durant changing
next
uniform.
Year, Sean, you and me, we'll just put LeBron at 1, and we'll take 2 off. We just won't even have 2. We'll have a blank spot there. That's the difference between 1 and 2.
What I want to mention is number 3, Kawhi Leonard, the Predator, a cyborg. I mean,
best two-way player in the NBA according to MJ.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree. It's yeah. I mean,
you put Kevin Durant there?
No, I was gonna say
what best two-way player? No, it's Kawhi.
All right.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if he.
I was gonna say maybe
is the best two-way player.
I was gonna say maybe Draymond, but I said that and I just felt stupid. But Kawhi is by far the best two-way player. Is Kawhi in the discussion to get top 2 then? Dave, in your mind, do you think that he could jump KD in your mind? Because obviously your rankings reflect that KD's 2.
Yeah, I think that if he comes back this year angry at how last year ended for him, I think there's a chance he can play up to that level. My major concern with that is because of Popovich, because of San Antonio, his stat line will never reflect what Kevin Durant can do, what LeBron James is expected to do in their situations. While he is every bit as good of a player, talent-wise, I don't know that he will ever statistically catch up to Kevin Durant, who's going, when he retires, will be the all-time scoring leader, to LeBron James, who is, one of the most gifted players we've ever seen play the game. I mean, that's my only concern, is like, they have something that they can pin their hats on, and that's pretty much set in stone unless, somebody goes out there and takes out their legs. Mm-hmm. Kawhi Leonard really is just a phenomenal player, a great two-way player. He's improved every single year he's played, but he will never have that standout, this is my one thing that just makes me.
Well, I think the moment that it kind of stuck out to me, at least in the playoffs last year, the game that kind of stuck out to me that was his moment was Game 2 of that Memphis series. Shot 64% from the line, 19-19 from 64% from field goal range, 52%. I'm sorry, I'm fucking this. 64% from the field, 19-19 from the free throw line, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. And then putting up 37 points, and then also the 43-point outbreak that he had, where he went on a complete run at the end of that game, where he put up 46% from the field, 70% from 3, 8 of 8 from the line, 8 rebounds, had 6 steals, 3 assists. I mean, those are things that were legends. 43 points. I mean, Kawhi has games where he's able to take it. But I think one thing that's kind of in his negative is obviously the pop thing that you bring up, but also the fact that he's just new. where, KD's been here since 2007, LeBron's been here since 2003. He's still new to the game.
Think of what could have been if that injury didn't happen during the playoffs. I mean, if he could go out there
Golden
and
State on the ropes.
If he could have won over Golden State, I mean, just game one alone would have been impressive. But if he could have won that series, that's something you start to cement a legacy on. That's how you build up yourself as, I'm the best and I took out the best kind of a thing. And that's exactly what I expect him to try to do. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but that is something I think I've got him right there.
Ricky, do you think that it's possible Kawhi jumps into that 1A, 1B discussion? Maybe there's a 1C coming in?
Here's the thing I wanted to bring up with that is when you looked at, and I know that stats aren't alone. Obviously, the eye test is out there.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned with the Devin Booker and the whole Zach LaVine thing, we mentioned the stat of per. And I know at this point it gets very marginal to where they are, but actually Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard technically had a better per than LeBron James. We're 27.62 for Kawhi, 27.68 for Durant, 27.11. I get it. We're splitting hairs with the 0.5 for Kawhi and Durant. The thing that Kawhi, yes, the defense is great. Yes, he's right up there with points. He's actually actually above Durant.
But also Kawhi
points.
brings a different thing to the table where LeBron has...
He's not going to get the same assist... Durant doesn't have the same assist numbers as LeBron. He doesn't have to because of his team.
LeBron has
Kawhi's not going to have those assist numbers, and he's not going to have the rebound numbers that LeBron has.
LeBron has the 27-7.
Yeah.
The
27-7-7.
Yeah, the 27-7-7-7-7-7 rule.
Yep.
He's going to bring everything to your team, assets.
Because he's the best player in the game right now.
KD is one of the most scariest scorers we've ever seen, and then Kawhi is one of the best two-way players we've ever seen. So, I mean, all of these guys bring different things, but what is it about Kawhi that brings him below? Is it the fact that he hasn't, obviously he's a final MVP, but he's never won a championship by himself, really? KD hasn't either?
I don't want to say it's that. The thing that I might lean on is, yes, out of the three, he's the best defensively, and that's what I think out of anything he can hang his hat on. It's because in this league, in just us as fans, we like any sport, you're going to take offense over defense. I relate it to football. Would you rather watch a game that's 48-45 and it's a great game, or do you want to watch a 6-9 game? Very few people want to watch that 6-9 game that's really built on defense. And I mean, yeah, it's great that Kawhi brings that defense, but it's not sexy. And it's not that sexy talent.
The reason why I brought
Durant, that's going to be the scoring leader when he
2K,
retires.
baby.
The reason why I brought up the two games that Kawhi had against Memphis was because those stat lines and what he did at the end of one of those games against Memphis was unreal, because he had those moments where he was able to stick out like KD and LeBron has done.
But he's not going to do that consistently, I think.
No. The other guys that I'll bring up, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Harrison Barnes. These are guys that we were kind of close on, and looking at them. Giannis had 81, Butler had 78, Paul George had 75, Melo had 71, and then Harrison Barnes had 70. So all very close, all within 11 points of each other, which isn't too crazy when it comes to our rankings. So looking out of this, obviously Harrison Barnes is kind of, I'd say odd man out, and probably Carmelo now in his career.
I wanted to ask you about that because you were the only one that had Barnes ahead of Melo.
I had Harrison Barnes over Carmelo Anthony because I don't know what Carmelo is actually going to do for this Knicks team. And this Knicks team's really bad. So I'd rather take Harrison Barnes on a team that, in Dallas that I see more potential in. With Dirk, Wes, Dennis Smith, Harrison, and Nerlens. I just feel like there's upside there where the Knicks it's a shit show. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. And Melo, he's a good player, and if he gets traded to the Rockets, then he'll probably jump up on this list over Harrison Barnes for sure. But Melo, I mean, he's slower. He's very, methodical. He's boring now.
The thing with me when it came to Melo was because I had him above Harrison Barnes. I looked at it was basically 6 and 7. I'm like, do I put Melo above Paul George? Do I put Paul George? Because per wise, they're around the same, and they're both not amazingly stat wise. And I'm thinking,
like I told you,
Paul George going to be better just because he's playing next to Westbrook?
Yes.
Yeah. Like that's
Yes.
and that's why I was like, you know what, I'll put Paul George ahead of Melo.
Oh, I don't. Paul George was an easy 6 for me. It was honestly like Jimmy Butler, or Paul
And
George.
he still dropped from 3 last year from us.
Yes,
We were kind of high on Paul George, PG-13.
but even you look at it for good reason. I mean, you look at what he did. I think it was
Yeah.
in March and April. He was like 27, 7, and 7.
Yeah.
And he was
He's a
unreal.
monster.
I mean, Paul George is still unreal. And if we're talking about good two-way players, him, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and Kawhi, those are all fantastic two-way players.
Here's the one I had a little discussion in my head of switching. We all had the same top 5, well, besides my 1, 2, but 3 through 5 we had the same. Could Jimmy be switched and be above Giannis?
No.
Because, I mean, I kept thinking of what Dave, like, and I know Dave loves bringing it up, of, like,
I do.
it's like, statistically, like, the team's better when Giannis isn't out there. And, like, Jimmy, I don't hear that. So, in my head, I was like, you know what?
Because the Bulls fucking suck.
Maybe Jimmy should be a little bit higher than Giannis, and Giannis should be 5, and Jimmy should be 4.
I love Jimmy, and Homerism aside, like he's a phenomenal player. But now he's going
Ball for life, baby.
Now he's going to the Timberwolves, where he's expected to be their defensive stopper. He's got the most gifted center in the league offensively with Cat.
You have
and then
a
Wiggins,
crazy
who can,
offensively talented wing.
Yeah, so I think that his role is going to change a fair bit, and that's why I had Giannis higher than him this year, because I think Giannis is still like, this is a team built around him. This is a team that has an identity going forward, and he is the superstar.
He's the
and
man.
That is it. There's no discussion. There's no anything. Like, the 37-year-old Thon Maker is not taking over this team. We all know that.
Giannis is the man. Giannis
And
is
he
exactly
just-
the man in Milwaukee.
And we had this discussion a little bit when we were talking a couple weeks ago about the MVP discussion.
Yeah.
Like, does he have a shot in hell for this? And I think, yeah, because if that man learns to shoot from anywhere beyond 5 feet, he's horrifying. Like,
He's
it already
ridiculous.
takes him 3 steps to get to the hoop. Like, well, how are you going to defend that?
He last year against Toronto, I'm pretty sure he dunked without jumping. I mean, this guy is the stuff of legends. He's 7 feet tall, can run a 40 in 3 seconds, can sprint next to a gazelle and look graceful. He's got the passing vision of a god.
The only
he's
thing
unreal.
that's
He just
missing
can't
from this,
shoot.
the only thing that's missing from this is I just want Sean's voice to morph into Bill Walton.
Oh
That just would
You
have
gotta
made
work
it
on that
greater.
one, Sean.
He's the man of legends. I can't do
terrible
a good
Bill
Walton.
Walton.
I can't do.
It
I'll
is.
say I can't. I'm not Frank Caliendo.
Giannis, however, is unreal. And I look at Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler can be clutch as hell. We know that. I think
he's one of the best people in crunch time.
I think crunch time. If it doesn't matter if Cat's gifted offensively, it doesn't matter if Wiggins is red hot. They're going to Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of shows who is the ranking, at least in Minnesota. But it's just something where Giannis, he can do it with the ball in his hands. He can do it. He can facilitate for others. He can do it for himself, and also he can play defense. And
his defense. How many times have I seen him do chase down blocks? Just, oh my God. Like, LeBron invented it, but like Giannis is just
he has
scary.
the potential to be the best defender in the NBA. I mean, he has the athleticism. He
The
has a
speed,
ridiculous
too.
wing
For
set.
his height, his size, like, how are you that quick?
Honestly, you think about it. He's quicker than KD. He's bigger than KD. He's got a longer wingspan than KD. I'm pretty sure. I think he can.
to check that
He can end up being like a better defender than KD.
Yeah.
Like by far. And then Kawhi. I think
by far. KD's really good defensively still.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
Underrated,
I'm
yeah.
saying like Giannis could be.
The only thing he can't do is shoot.
No, I know. What I'm saying, Giannis can be is just bigger KD and quicker KD. And KD is, I mean, I know I'm not trying to knock KD. KD's still better than Giannis. But Giannis has all the tools to be unstoppable and ridiculous, where Jimmy is very, very good.
He's a polished player at this point in his career. And that's the thing.
He's not going
Giannis
to
still
grow
has
too much.
upside.
Yeah, Jimmy's not going to grow too much. He might improve and get more efficient because he's playing with better guys offensively, so the offensive looks might be there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Jimmy's going to be able to be unstoppable ever in his career. Where Giannis, I do see that.
Only against LeBron James. Because he's his father.
But looking at all these guys, I mean, 6 through 1. I mean, these guys are all top 15 players.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
God, that's scary.
Is Paul George a top 15 player?
That's the only one.
I'd have to look at that one.
I'm gonna say top 5 for sure. Top 5 for sure.
Oh, top 5 are all 15 top.
Yes, top
15.
5 for sure. Paul George, maybe.
But that's something
Is that
crazy.
Yeah.
Dominance of a position.
Let's say this.
Well,
top
I mean-
20 then.
Yeah.
Paul George top 20?
Yeah.
There we go. So we have 6 of the top 20 players in one position.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty ridiculous. So I mean, looking at
Wings,
this,
baby.
is this the best position, or is it very top heavy?
Well, I mean, we talked about the depth of point guards. 1 through 19 pretty much is all really close. Like, it goes from amazing to really, really good still. And I think that
really, really good still.
I think that with small forwards, Ricky talked about it, there's that 1 through 7, and then there's that drop off. Like, no disrespect to Otto Porter, but what he did last year earned him a contract based off what he could do in the future. It's
and
he's not
9.
there.
He's 9.
He's 9 right now, but he's not there. He's not even close to smelling Harrison Barnes. Like that's the difference. And I think that it's such a top heavy position, but it's the most impactful position in the NBA, bar none. I think having someone who has the size and the ability to play, that combination is just it's everything in this game right now. That's all you are looking for.
I think the separation for the top 4 guys is that there are point forwards.
Yeah.
Those are the point forwards
Ball
that you
in
want.
hand.
Those are the guys that can run your offense. And not saying Jimmy can't, Paul George can't, Carmelo can't, because all those guys have and will do.
And that's rightfully so why Ben Simmons we're all so excited for him, because he has the potential to grow into one of those top spots.
And same with Josh Jackson. I mean, Josh Jackson, obviously he's very low on this ranking, but still, he has the potential to do something like that. So I think it's just something where you look at the potential to grow, and I think the highest risers are still in like the top 6. I still see Paul George being able to rise. I still see Jimmy Butler being able to rise. I still see Giannis being able to rise. But I look at Carmelo, Harrison Barnes, Otto Porter, and Danilo. I don't see those guys jumping any of the guys above them.
Not next year, but like Otto, I think will be. I think as time goes on, Carmelo will become purely just a scorer. Everything else will kind of fall away. I think Otto Porter could be a more complete player. I think Danilo.
No, but what I'm saying is I don't see any of those guys becoming top 6 players. I don't see any of those guys pushing out a Jimmy Butler, a Paul George, a Giannis.
Harrison Barnes is good, but he's never going to be that great. And that's the same thing. Like, Danilo's up there purely because of his opportunity. He joined the Clippers, and look, somebody's got to put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, I mean, out of this guy, out of this top 6, I mean, you could start a franchise with any of these guys.
Yeah.
If you had a team of all of them on one team, I mean, just think of that.
Banana boat part 2.
2 of them are here. Carmelo and LeBron. Yeah. Which guys? We're looking at this. Obviously, rising is hard, but is there any guy that will fall out of this top 10? I mean, outside the easy one, Danilo.
I think Danilo is the obvious one. Porter's close. I think Harrison Barnes is tricky because I like him, and I think that as we watch like the Mavs lean away from Dirk with time going on, if he can step up to be the true one, or if Dennis Smith just absolutely comes in. And I think my expectation is, Harrison Barnes will be the Batman, or will be the Robin to Dennis Smith Jr.'s Batman. I think Dennis Smith Jr. has the personality, has the passion, and has the drive to be a superstar in this league. So I think that Harrison Barnes will be good, but never great. And I think that that's just kind of like where he's cursed at, I see him being jumped over time. I think Otto Porter playing as the third fiddle in Washington, again, he's a good player. He's going to earn the money over time, but he's not going to be a great player.
Yeah, I think the one thing that the guy that I think is going to fall on it. The only reason I asked this question is because I wanted to bait you into say Melo, because Melo's old as shit.
I'm not getting rid of him yet.
I'm ready to.
If he gets traded though to the Rockets, though, that's another thing. Like the Kyrie son.
He can stand around and take shots all day.
Well, that's a different story. But he could become Olympic
Well,
Melo.
I'm just
He
saying,
can become
it's the
Olympic
same
Melo.
wrench we talked about with the Suns with Kyrie.
Yeah. The only thing that I say that is because if he doesn't get traded to the Rockets, I'm ready. I mean, I know you guys aren't ready to do this, but I'm ready to take that 2003. That's not LeBron James. That 2003 draft class and bring it behind the bar and shoot it. Because D Wade's old, Melo's old, and Melo can't be a number 1 anymore.
I mean, you got to find Darko, but
well, someone did that. Someone did that to Darko's career a long time ago.
Some would say Darko Milicic is the best one from that class. First to get a ring.
Unfortunately, Chris Bosh's body did it to himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worst story.
I mean, dude, you're forgetting about number 6 overall to the Clippers, Chris Kaman, man. Forgetting about Chris Kaman.
And Captain
and Captain Kirk.
Respect Captain.
Kirk Hinrich?
Yeah, he won 7.
Is he still in the league?
David
Did he
West.
retire?
David West.
Okay, we're not ready to go through the 2003 draft class here.
Redraft.
Also, David West is a ring chaser. But the thing is that I look at Melo, and by himself, I don't see him being special anymore. I watch Knicks games, and he's got some games where he's like fantastic still, but he doesn't bring that on a consistent basis
He has
anymore.
very little passion left. And I think unless he gets traded, he gets re-energized. Like, we're going to see that slow dragging on death of his career.
Unless we see Olympic Melo. I think Melo might turn into
I
a ring
love
chaser.
Olympic Melo.
I mean, and I think there's a special teams that he needs to go to become Olympic Melo. Outside of that, I don't see him becoming Olympic Melo.
Yep.
Anyways, any final thoughts on the small forwards?
No, not really. Like,
Dave?
this is the cream of the crop when it comes to positions.
The
up
top
at the
sixes,
top.
for sure.
All
The
about them
cream of the
wings.
crop.
What?
All about them wings.
Oh, okay. I'm hungry, so you said wings, and I thought you said something else.
It's, positionless NBA, wings with a handle, and all you need. That's all you need to start a future, and that's why we see them reaching for it.
And we'll see what Ben Simmons does. We'll see what Josh Jackson does. And obviously, the one with the brightest future, we'll see what Chandler Parsons does. So we'll see what happens there. Anyways,
Samson.
tell us if LeBron should be number one, which is ridiculous coming out of mouth. Tell us if you think LeBron should be number one.
Argue
And tell
with this
Ricky
man.
why he's wrong in the comments. Anyways, for Ricky Widmer and Dave Oster, I'm Sean Anderson. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, thank you so much. If you've downloaded us, you rock. Blog Talk Radio, you guys do so much. If you listen to this whole podcast, an hour long, we're going to be bringing you power forwards, centers,
great.
six-man,
great.
coaches next. So
And then
keep
we get our
listening.
predictions.
Yes.
Ooh, predictions.
Keep listening to us on Blog Talk Radio. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We know you guys are always coming and supporting us. You guys absolutely rock. If you aren't subbed to our channel, definitely sub to this channel. And if you haven't liked this video, do that before this video ends because it's ending like right about now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.